Alright guys, good morning. I put out a video a couple of years ago concerning dive boards, and I've had a lot of requests for additional information on that. So what I was going to try to do is cover everything, including actually being on the boat and deploying the dive boards. We did a little video last summer where I actually showed that being done. So hopefully that will help you guys out. And on this one, I'm actually going to construct one of the dive boards. It's super simple, and once you see it, you'll totally understand it. So what these are is their Yozuri K-type dive boards. Here's one that's unopened. You'll see the P cord that it comes with. What I do is I get rid of that because it's junk. It's too thin, it won't hold up. It's not made for the rigors of ocean fishing and fishing for tuna. So that's what one looks like. You can get them on Amazon, eBay, any of your good quality stores like England Marine will have them. So they usually run, I don't know, 25 bucks. They're probably more expensive now. Everything's gone up. These are coming from Japan, so you know, who knows what's going on with the tariff situation. But anyway, so this is one that we actually made, and I took the hardware off. There's no problem with it. I had just taken the hardware off and I used it on another board. You can see it's dinged up a little bit here, but it didn't actually change the way the board performs. Obviously, if you get a board into the motor, you'll end up with something like this. Unfortunately, one of my crew members let the board swing over into the prop, and it took a big chunk out. Oddly enough, this thing actually was still tracking true when we had it in the water, but the thing that I noticed was that this particular dive board stopped producing fish. So there was something going on in the water, I don't know what it was, that was causing the fish to shy away, even though it looked like it was still tracking. And it was holding down underneath the water. I don't know if there was movement or, you know, some sort of, pardon me, bubbles coming off of it that were causing the fish to shy away. But we just pulled this one out, and I keep a hold of it now just for the sake of reminding me what an idiot we were for getting it into the prop. So it hangs up in my fish room. One thing I was going to say is I apologize for the mess on the boat. We just pulled the cover off, and I haven't even given it its spring wash yet. We were getting some gear set up and ready for halibut opener May 1st next week, and so I figured I'd get this video done. Been talking about it for years. So this board's already been done. I'm going to set this one aside. Basically what you're doing is you can go down to Ace Hardware, and you want to get 1022 eye bolts just like this one. I don't know if you can see that. And it's got a slightly open eye. I thought about closing it with a vise. It might be a little bit hard because these are hardened stainless. But the one thing I was going to say is that if you put the open side towards the back of the board, what happens then is that the P cord is, the tuna cord is going to be pulling this direction, and so it's not going to get into that that slightly open area right there, and we've never had an issue with it. I'll show you one that we were using last year. It's right there. You can see that the open side is to the back, and it's not really open, it's just not fully welded eyelet. And then this is a just a simple uni knot with 3 turns to the inside before we closed it down. And this is like I said, this is one of the boards that we were running last year, so I'll set that aside for a minute. Essentially what you want to do is just get a drill bit that is the same size as the shank of the bolt. That looks like it's pretty good. I think this is 3/16, and then you're just going to ream it out. It just needs to be reamed out just a bit. Also be aware that this eye right up front there actually is at a slight angle. I don't know why they did that. Anyway, so what you're going to do is you're just going to slide that down into there, and I don't use a washer on the top, as you can see right here. The reason for that is that you want that to set down in there just a little bit, so that that open eyelet is sucked into the board just a little bit, and it acts to not only close it, but it keeps the eyelet from turning when you're running it in the water, and it works effectively. So you don't need to run a washer on the top. Oh, and by the way, don't get the smaller board. I think these are for salmon fishing, or I think the guys down in Florida are using them for wahoo, something like that. Anyway, this was a experiment that a buddy of mine was doing years ago, but I just pulled this out to show you the difference between the board sizes. So don't get the smaller size. It's not going to work for you. Anyway, so you can see how the bolt sits in there slightly angled, which is fine. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to take a pardon me, a stainless washer and stick it on there, and then you're going to take a 1024 nut with, it's a nylock nut, so that it doesn't back out, and you're going to feed it on there. Okay. You can do this in a vise too, but obviously I wasn't going to drag the vise up here. Just get it down there so that it's starting to snug up, and then make sure that your eye is straight. Then you can snug it up a little bit and adjust it. It's easier to do this on the vise. But once you got it snug down in there, and it'll press down into the board a little bit, you don't have to fuss with it anymore. It'll stay. So that's about all you need to do right there. I don't know if you can see that, but it's snugged right into the board a little bit. This is just like foam with a clear cover on it. Anyway, so you've got a bit of the shank right there that you're going to have to cut off. This is a grinder with a cutoff wheel. Now you could mark the bolt, pull it off, put it in a vise, and chuck it up and cut it off with a hacksaw, and then file it smooth. But I'm being lazy. I'm up here, so we're gonna do it this way. Safety first. And somebody's gonna bitch about this. They're gonna say, ah, you need to have that thing in a vise, you need to have gloves on, da, da, da. Don't take the cover off the grinder. I know it's coming. Feel free to blast me. Okay, so what this is, it's a zip wheel. Really good for metal fabrication. I've built a few race cars over the years, drag racing, so we used to do a lot of metal fabrication. That's why I've still got some of the gear. Ooh, that sucker's hot. Okay. 80 grit flap wheel. You don't have to get it perfect and perfectly close on the first shot because you're going to bust it down anyway. So if you can see that, we knocked off that shank. It's set in the board, and this thing is good to go. Believe it or not, that will still track true. It doesn't affect how the board tracks, believe it or not. Ooh, that sucker's hot. So my suggestion would be to make a couple of extra boards to keep on the boat in case you do one of these. Don't do one of those, but you know, stuff happens, so you got to be careful with the boards anyway. If you're dropping it on the deck, you're gonna ding it, and if you start getting big dings in this, especially this leading edge, it's gonna affect how the board performs. So ah, damn it. Metal shavings in my coffee. Okay, the kind of tuna cord that you're going to want to run is Ashaway, and I get this at England Marine. You can also get it online. I use 300 pound. You know, I tend to go overkill on everything. I know some guys use 200 pound and they're just as successful with the 200 pound. I've just never had any problems with 300 pound, and it doesn't affect, you know, whether the fish are going to be attracted to the clones or not. So I get the good stuff. It's a little expensive, but it's worth it. So as far as where we store the setups that we make, we put them in a feed bucket. It's got a flat edge here, and then you can tie it off right to the handrail and have it rest against the gunnel, and then we just throw our rig right in there, and as we're fishing and you're pulling line in, it's nice to throw it in there and then play it back out, and the bucket stays attached to the boat. I don't do it just because it weirds me out, but I know some people will tie the bucket to the outside of the boat, which is fine. It's my OCD. Anyway, so these are bungee cords, and some people will use a single, some people a double. This one I made is a double. I think I'm going to go to a single, because what we're doing is we're actually attaching a limiting strap to it so that if it breaks, you're not going to lose your gear, lose the fish. But what we've got here is a board that I made and ran last year. What I do is I'll just mark the length of the tuna cord right on there, and then the length of the leader. So all I'm doing with this is I'm tying a small loop to the back with a barrel swivel, and then connected to the barrel swivel is my leader. So that's 10-foot leader right there, and then that's also, plus I set up all of my clones on a 6-foot. So it's going to be a total of 16 feet, and it's just for quick changes. That's all. This is your standard 6-inch, what are they, 2-ounce Mexi flag. It's already set up. I'm not going to go over that. You guys know how to do that stuff, and everybody does it a little bit differently. Pardon me. This is 150 pound mono, Jinke mono. This is actually 250 Jinke mono. I just do it so that it's reusable, and if there's no major nicks or anything in it, these will last, you know, all season, sometimes several seasons. Just make sure that you check it periodically throughout your season. Anyway, so that's the back of the board. That's going out to your clone. This is the front of the board, and like I said, all this is it's a uni knot with 300 pound Ashaway tuna cord and 42 feet of line. You can see here what I do is I actually knot the line every well, I want to say about 1.5 to 2 feet. It makes it easier when you're pulling the line in. Up here at the top is your bungee. So the line comes up to the bungee. It's tied on both ends so that if the bungees break, you have a limiter, or if it gets too stretched out, you got a limiter. And I got to readjust this. I don't like this. And then give yourself a little bit of line for the attachment to the boat. So no mystery there. It's just a straight line with little knots every so often so that it makes it easier to pull the die board in. Okay, you come up and you tie it to the base. I don't know if you can see that. You tie it to the base and then to the top. Give yourself a pigtail so that you can attach it to however you're attaching it to the back of the boat. For us, we just put it right on the cleat back there. So that's it in a nutshell. The one thing that I did want to talk about is we love to run these little 4.5, 4-inch jobs with a 1-ounce lead head in it. And these two came from England, I think, as well. I bought from a lot of places. It just so happens I think these two came from England. But what we were struggling with is these smaller, lighter clones were a real problem. We couldn't figure out why the boards kept flipping. The boards kept flipping and coming up, and we couldn't figure out what was going on. Were we getting short strikes? Were the fish hitting the clone and not sticking, and the board was flipping and coming up? And we struggled with this for a couple of trips because we started running these on the die board and it just didn't work out. And it was coupled with the new boat. This was in 2023 when I bought this boat. So One of my guys that I fish with said, hey, you know what, it might have something to do with the amount of drag, because we're using a smaller, lighter clone here as opposed to the bigger clone. And I was like, aha, that's it. So we verified that by putting a small clone on, and it was flipping up, and then putting the big clone on, board stayed down. So that's what it was, and it stands to reason, because the board needs a certain amount of drag on the back of it so that it stays down. If it doesn't have enough drag, it's going to start doing this, and eventually it's going to flip up and come up to the top of the water. My answer to this is that we bought some inline torpedo sinkers that I'm going to make up so that we can run these this year. It's going to give us a little bit more weight, and it's going to give us the drag we need to do this. The board's like an aircraft wing, and basically when it's in the water like this, it ends up pulling itself down, and the board's going to go down in the water as far as the line will let it go, and obviously the speed of the boat will affect that. Going from a single engine to a twin engine boat, I had to lengthen this and this a little bit to get everything to work properly. And I think the reason being is because if this is your boat up here, and here's the motor right here, and the prop's creating a big swirl of water back behind the boat, I think to fish, that's going to look like a school of bait fish. And so they're going to come up, they're going to see that and come up and go, hey, what's going on? And then what I've been trying to do is set the dive board so that it comes down below that big swirl of water back behind the boat, just so that the fish can see the clone in the outside bottom of the swirl. And I think that, and then I got the line drawn right here because obviously that's going to be a lot longer behind the boat. But I think if at least my opinion is that if you do that, it's going to make it much more effective. So how do you know exactly where that is? How do you know how deep this is going? If you know a way to figure it out, let me know in the comments, because I'd love to hear it. So for our purposes, it's been trial or error, and we've adjusted and adjusted and adjusted it to the new boat, because obviously twins will make much more of a big giant bubble trail behind the boat, and I think we've got it to the point where it's effective again, and that's what we really wanted. So that's the dive boards. Right here we've got the dongle. This one I set up on a single because I figured out you didn't really need a double. Excuse me, some people swear by a double, and that's okay. So this is what Yozuri calls a dabo. I don't even think they make them anymore. If you can find one, good on you. And then I did the same thing. I got this set at 36 and 10. So this is 36 and this is 10 long. And it's the exact same setup. It comes with a heavy-duty barrel swivel on both sides, and I leave those on there. And then I just attach my line to it. So it's just like the dive board. And then as far as this goes, it's the exact same situation. So I got a barrel swivel, and then I've got a snap swivel up here to give that clone free play, give it a natural movement. The dabo, I call it a dongle, is a noise maker, a splasher, it's a commotion maker. It tracks in the water going this way, and that flat surface right here sprays the water and creates a disturbance like a bird landing or an injured fish, so on and so forth. And so some people say, oh, you know, ours never gets hit. I'm here to tell you, this thing has produced fish, and it's amazing. Sometimes they will come up to within 36 feet of the back of the boat, and boom, they're in the bubbles, and they're still hitting it. So it's pretty amazing. And we run this in the shotgun position right between the motors, right out the back. So we'll run one dive board on each one of the corners, and then we'll run this right up the middle in the shotgun position. And these things produce. In fact, last year I think there was one day where we got hit 3 times on this. And you know, it doesn't get into your troll rods. People say, well, I don't run them because they get into my troll rods. Well, not really. So generally speaking, your clones off of your troll rods on the corners are going to be out much further than your dive boards. And so if the dive board is down, I'm just going to say 20 feet, which is about what we figured it was running at, then it's down below the clones on the surface, and it's not being affected. So when this thing gets hit, the board flops up like this, and then you know that you've got a fish on or you had a short strike. It's almost invariably going to be one of the two. Every once in a while, seaweed will do it. That's okay. So you know, instead of fish on, we'll say board up, because you don't know 100% for certain whether it's fish on or not. So we go out and we start pulling that thing in. Well, it's not affecting your spread out there because the spread's out further. So I'll be honest with you, pardon me, it's free fish. And it's not only that, but you're now giving the boat a 3D presentation, because your trollers are going to be up here on the top and you're also fishing down below. So it's giving you a 3-dimensional spread for the fish to look at. With that big giant bubble trail with the clones down underneath and the clones up top, it creates a really, really tasty spread for the fish. And that's what you want. So if you guys have any questions at all, just give me a shout. You know, I've had guys call me, I've had guys text me, guys have asked me questions right through the YouTube comments, and then, you know, I've had guys ask me questions about it right there at in port where I fish at Newport. So again, on these eyelets, these are stainless steel 1024 eyelets. You can get them at Ace Hardware in their big giant bolt selection. They're in the small bins that they put up on the top of the regular bolt racks. All right, guys, what you're gonna do is you're gonna drop that dive board in and let it run back past the motors. Just feed it. Flip it over and it dives down. So just let it go.
There you go. Feed it.
Mark, can you lift up that rod there? So you come to the shock cord and drop it, and it's deployed.
Okay. Thank you.
You're back out.
Yep. Put that out of there. 4. Let me get the fishing first.
Right, 30 feet. You got die board up?
Yeah, it's 32 on.
Yeah, you're all wrapped up. Mark, go ahead and unleash yourself. You got him in the bite. Thanks, sir. Good job, Slick. The boards are working for you.
Yeah, they are.
Whatever you're doing, keep doing it.
We didn't catch up on the boards with that.
Am I good for you, Mark?
Yeah. I'm almost.
You want to give him a hand with Gaff? When he's ready?
I'm gonna be a minute. I'll let you know when I hit mono. Roger that. Where's our way back, by the way, Sean?
Oh, it's way off to your. So the boat's 6 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
7 o'clock. 7 o'clock.
This fucking spike fucking cuts. This might be. Oh.
Drop the speed for you.
Well, this is that mad scat.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Nice. Nice.
You can see the map scan's working. Thanks, Skyler.
What's up?
Thanks for being on that.
Forward. Hard to catch fish in all the gears in the boat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Color.
Here he comes.
Not yet, not yet, not yet.
I'm going by you right now, Jason, on your left.
Sean, can you turn that way, please?
Yep.
No, I'm moving away. Jason, stop there.
Okay, well, bring him in and we'll figure it out.
Cross one right there before we see him hit to the right, and then hook to triple. We're working on number 3. Do you see me right now?
Alright guys, that should pretty well wrap it up. If you guys have any questions at all, just reach out, give me a shout, and I can walk you through it. The main thing is to experiment until you figure out exactly what your boat wants, and that's going to take some time on the water. Just remember that once you have that down, you're going to produce a heck of a lot of fish on your dive boards, and you're going to be really surprised at how much it's going to add to your daily catch. So appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you out on the water. Thank you.